Hello there everyone, it is Sunday the 29th of April 2018 and welcome to Andy's Shed Live, Season 4, Episode 2. Yes, hello everybody, welcome to the show for this Sunday evening. How the devil are you? It's me back here once again for another Sunday evening of entertainment here from the old shed. And before we go any further, just want to say that remember you can always find us here if you want to go and catch us at our online abode. It's andyshed.colepress.net online if you want to go along and see us there, and that's where you can catch us in the shed basically anytime, even when we're not on air. You can find us at that address there. That's andyshed.colepress.net. So you can find us even there when it's not a Sunday. Right, we've got a cracking show for you today. We've got quite a lot in the show for you this evening. But first up, before I go any further, I want to say a big hello to all our viewers. I've actually bumped into a couple of the viewers of Andy's Shed Live this week. So hello to those of you that I've bumped into this week, and hopefully I'll bump into more of you this next week as well. But yeah, so it's always good. And yeah, people start coming up to me in the street going, "You're that bloke off that Andy's Shed." So yeah, it's been quite interesting. Not signed any autographs yet though, but give it time. Yeah. Right. Okie dokie. Well, you may remember that last week we were working on this phone here. This one here is what we were working on last week, and I was doing a bit of a repair on it there using ABS. This is a still from last week of what I was doing, and you may remember that I made a kind of ABS putty using acetone in this jar. And this is the jar that I had last week. You remember I put some more liquid acetone in it last week, and now, boom, oh, it's set again, and it's basically putty formed again in the bottom of there. Can you see that? So that is like putty again in the bottom of there now this week. So that's what's happened to that. So I rolled a ball of putty, as you can see in this thing, and it's basically just a little bit of acetone left in the bottom of that jar, then a bit of broken ABS plastic put in the phone, and when the ABS starts to evaporate, the acetone starts to evaporate out of it, you can make a little ball of putty like that, which I then just applied to the corner of that phone, and then rubbed it all over with liquid acetone just to sort of smooth over the surface, pretty much in the same way to how a potter would smooth over the surface of a pot, although he'd do it with water of course, not with acetone. And that's what happened. We smoothed over the surface. Now in the week, while we've been away in the week here, I've actually sanded down the surfaces using 80 grit sandpaper, nothing finer than that, just 80 grit sandpaper, and you'll see I've sanded the corners, and those corners that were broken last week are now looking quite good. If I can kind of match this shot up here with what we had last week, the magic of telly, isn't it good? You can see the broken corner there in that shot, and there it is, all nicely filled. So that's the difference that that acetone fix has made with the ABS. So we're going to continue with this, So I need to unwrap the line cord from around it again, because what we are going to do this week is we're just going to finish it off. We're going to try and get a nice shine, because obviously I've rubbed this down with 80 grit sandpaper, so obviously it's quite rough at the moment. I don't know if you can you see that? Is that in focus now? Sort of. I'll put it down there. If I hold it up there, it goes out of focus. Right, I'll put it down there so you can maybe get a better look at it. You can see it's perfectly filled in, but it is a little bit rough on the surface because I've only rubbed it down with 80 grit sandpaper. So what we're going to do now, while we're on today, is we are going to finish it off. And the way we finish it off is acetone, and you may have heard it's just full on floor, methylated spirits, and this stuff. Automotive Body Colour Restorer. In my case, T-Cut, which is a brand I know, but you can use Brasso or anything like that as well. It will do exactly the same job. So the first thing that we do is we take our methylated spirits and our acetone, and the first thing that you need here is the methylated spirits. So I'll take the lid off that, if I can get it off. Oh, childproof tops, they're me proof as well. Does anybody else have this problem? Oh, that's it's going. Right, there you go. Right, and then we take an old rag, and it needs to be an old rag. Don't use your best dusters or anything for this, because you'll want to throw this away later. So an old rag, and so I've got here, find a little clean bit on it. Right, and then also take the top off your acetone, because what you're going to want to do here is a bit of meths onto the rag like this. Okay, then at the same place on the rag where you put the meths, also put a little dab of acetone like that in the same place. Okay, exactly the same bit, and then we just start rubbing that front corner of the phone. And what it is, the meth sort of cuts the acetone a bit, so the acetone doesn't eat quite as much of the plastic away as it would if the acetone was neat. And so because it's not eating so much away, it's giving a smoother finish. In theory. So it's doing it round here. And if you think you need to cut a bit more of the plastic away, just put acetone on. Just use acetone. If you think you need to cut a bit more of the plastic away, so just use a little bit of acetone. Like that. Neat. And you'll see the colour of the plastic starting to come off on your cloth. So there it is, starting to come off. I'll take the phone off hook. It's not plugged in or anything, bear in mind. So here we go. Carry on doing this. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment while we sort this out. But what I'm actually doing here is cleaning up this surface and dissolving a little bit of the roughness off the surface, dissolving the very surface of this plastic. So it will get gradually a little bit smoother. So you should end up with it being reasonably smooth. I'll use a fresh bit of my cloth now. Move my cloth around, because I've obviously got some plastic dissolved into the cloth on that bit. So we'll do that process again now on this corner. So a little bit of meths like that. Where can I stand it out of the way when I've used it? Oh, there. Right, and then a little bit of acetone in the same place, and we'll start rubbing on that corner as well. And you might see a little bit of a white bloom on this. Don't panic too much if you do. I want a bit more acetone on there to do the side section. Now I'm doing this quite quick, and it's difficult to do, of course, on camera, and in true Blue Peter tradition, as they always used to say on Blue Peter, of course you'll take more time doing this than I'm doing here, which is true, you probably would. But I'm doing it fairly quick, and I'm doing it kind of backwards way on as well, so you can see what I'm doing on the camera. But we're basically cutting the surface, so I'll have a bit more meths on there. And a bit more acetone, and we'll go again and do a bit more. So that is now starting to clean up quite nicely. But we've got a white bloom on it. Can you see a kind of white bloom on that? Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop with the acetone and meths now, and switch to the tea-cut. Now, you may find the first time that you switch to the tea-cut, it doesn't entirely shine it up. In that case, go back to using the acetone and meths again. You know, you've just not done enough polishing with the acetone and meths if the tea-cut doesn't work on it first time. But we'll put those out the way for a minute, and we'll get the tea-cut or brass or whatever you want to use. Basically, just an abrasive polish. Or very slightly abrasive, not very much, just very slightly. So we shake it up like this. And then we find a fresh point on our cloth and get a bit of this. There. And then we start polishing with this. So during the week while you weren't watching, what I actually did during the week was I just took this off. I'd left the kind of where we'd done it with like the acetone stroke ABS putty that we'd made. I left it a little bit proud of the surface last week. And then when it had dried off, when it took it 2 or 3 days to fully dry, when it had completely dried off and gone rock hard, then I sanded it down with 80 grit sandpaper. Now if you wanted to make this stage a little bit easier, you could use a finer grit sandpaper after you'd used the 80 grit, and then you won't be doing so much polishing here. But I've elected to do that sanding, what they call chemical sanding, and do it with the Brasso and that, and the well, in my case teakwood, not Brasso, and the acetone. So I'm doing it chemically with the acetone, rather than mechanically with sandpaper. So can you see that starting to clean up and get a shine on it now? I am going to have to go back on this again, I think, with more acetone. But let's rub that up now, because I've just put the polish on with that. Let's see if we can rub that up to a shine now. Find a clean bit of the rag. See if we can buff that corner up. And it's buffed up quite nicely. I can still see scratch marks and things on it, but it is starting to buff up. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it is starting to buff. There are still some marks there. What I think I would probably do at this stage normally will be I'd go back into this with some very fine sandpaper and just buff out the marks on the corner there. But it's certainly not got the big crack in the front corner that it had before, and that is certainly looking a lot better. If I move this camera up a bit, then you'll be able to see more of what I'm doing here. Right. Can you see that better? Right, so if we have a go with the old acetone and meths again. In fact, I think I'm going to go just with acetone to start with, because there are some fairly deep scratches still on there. So a clean bit of the rag again, just the acetone, and we then get on here and we have a look there where you sort of see we need it there, and we buff that bottom corner, and it makes it go rough again. You can feel it going rough, but that's because the acetone is melted the plastic, and as you can see again, we've got blue plastic on the cloth there. So go to a clean bit of cloth again, and of course when the acetone goes out of your cloth, that bit of plastic that's in there will make the cloth go hard. So that's why I say you have to end up throwing the cloth away, so use a bit of rag rather than your finest quality dusters. Right, so that's not bad, just with the acetone. So now I'm going to go back to the acetone and meths combination. So clean bit of the rag again, Meth's on first when you do this, so that soaks into the rag a bit more, so you're not using so much acetone. Soak it into the rag, then a bit of acetone, and then we start to buff again. If I can press the button to get on the right camera, there we go. That is starting to feel much smoother around the front there. It still feels a bit rough on this side, so we'll do it. Meths, acetone, and we'll do a bit more work on this side. And that almost feels perfect. Now you'll see the white bloom on there. This is where we now come in again with the teacup or brasso. If you want to use that, you can. Whatever you have to hand, and get that on there. And immediately it makes that white bloom disappear, but it might come back if you don't polish all this off again. So you've got to make sure you polish all this off again after you've put it on there. So again, go to a clean bit of your cloth, and Pippa the dog's come here to help me, haven't you, Pippa? Yeah, so clean bit of your cloth again and polish away, so to get off all the residue of everything else you've put on there. And this feels much better now. Actually, you can feel it if it's smooth or if it's still a bit rough. You can still see a few scratch marks on the corner there, but they're only very superficial. And remember, there was a massive great big chunk out of that corner, so this is now 1,000 times better than it was. As you can see, there's a few marks on the front there, but they actually look worse on the camera than they do in reality, those marks. I'm just moving it off the camera a minute just to give it a final polish on my knee here. Yeah, it's a million times better than it was. I think what we'll do is, over this coming week, I will do a final polish on this, and then you'll be able to see a bit better sort of what's happening with it. But if I can tilt up so you can see me cleaning it, if I then get on the other camera again, down there, right, So we're going to do this corner now. So again, where's my cloth gone? It's on the floor. Right, so again we're going to start with the meths and acetone mix, and have a really good polish at this. Much easier with it on my knee than it was with it on the desk. And don't do too big an area at once. That may be why I'm having trouble here, because I'm trying to do too big an area. Because remember, the acetone and the meths, actually, they both evaporate very quickly. So they stop being useful very quickly because they evaporate away. And look how blue my cloth is again, so it's definitely doing something. And you can see corner there gradually shining up again. So a clean bit of cloth. I've turned my cloth inside out there, so I've got the bit where there's still a bit of acetone on it. That dropped a bit on the desk there. You can do this quite vigorously, as I'm doing here. Moving so fast, I'm literally a blur on the old cameras there. Hello, Pippa dog. Pippa dog is here. She's just down here. Pippa, stick your head up here and say hello. Yeah, stick your head up here and say hello, Pips. There, say hello. That's Pippa the dog. Right, so there's that corner. And we'll now have another go with some of the tea cutty type stuff. There we go. Get some of that on there. Okay, and a clean bit of cloth to buff it up. There we have your front case corners. Right, I have kind of shone those up. I'll show you the results in just a second. Just let me put the lids back on things, because as I said, these chemicals do evaporate quite quickly. So there's one, there's the lid on the acetone, and finally the lid on the teacup, which doesn't evaporate too much but does dry up. So I'll put that over there, and then we can try and show you what we've done. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to get this right up under a camera if I can, so that hopefully you can see it in close-up detail. Now this is really close up, bear in mind. And there's the other corner that we've done. If I can get it in focus. So you can kind of see where that corner was done. But that's the corner that I started originally, and I did it with a kind of liquid version of the ABS acetone mix, and I started doing that originally with a liquid version. Then I put some more on that was harder later, but you can see the mark on that one. But that corner that I just did with the putty last week, that corner there, that's better, is better, isn't it? You can't really see where that corner's been rebuilt. You can a little bit on that one though. You can see it. It's slightly discoloured, it looks like, that one. You know, it's got green in it somehow, so I wonder if the ABS that I used on that bit was a bit discoloured, the ABS that I liquefied. I wonder if that was a little bit discoloured. But the idea is there, isn't it? It's certainly 100 times better than it was. And what I'll do, I'll try and finish this off during the week. I'll just continue using the process that I've used there. But I'll continue to do it during the week. So that hopefully by next week's show I'll be able to show you the finished product, which should be pretty good, I'm hoping. So yeah, so there we basically have it. That is the phone done with acetone and liquefied ABS, but that is certainly usable now, and we've repaired the great big missing chunks that were there previously, because there is what we had before again. And if I can hold it up, there is what we've got now. So it's a million times better. Yes, you can still see it slightly, but it actually shows up more on the camera than it does in reality. I'm just sort of looking at it here, you know, in reality terms, and it's not actually looking bad at all as I look at it. It looks pretty good. So that is how you restore one of these phones if you've got some broken ABS casing. And of course, it's not just on telephones. You can do it on anything at all. It's not just phones. But if you've got anything that's ABS and broken, you can do it. But remember, the acetone does eat into the ABS, and you are liquefying ABS, so it's not very good for repairing textured surfaces, if you've got textured ABS, like a lot of 1980s computer cases had a texture in them, of course this will smooth out that texture and make it smooth. And a lot of people restoring old computers, old like Commodore VIC-20s and BBC Model Bs and Spectrums, a lot of people doing that kind of thing, who do a thing called the retrobright process, which involves sunlight, which we don't have much of here in the UK. A lot of those people have been in touch with me saying, how does this this system that you use work, and what does it do to textured case? Well, of course it would smooth out the texture because it melts the surface a bit. So it's maybe a thing to use with great caution on textured cases. I would glue cracks together with the acetone. You know, I'd just get a paintbrush and run acetone into the crack, probably from behind, and then squeeze it together and use it to mend cracks. But you wouldn't be able to do anything with this on the surface if you've got a textured surface, because you'd damage the textured surface. So if you've got a textured surface, you can damage it with this. But if you've got a nice smooth surface like these phones, then it's perfectly fine. But if you've got any questions about it, remember you can leave it, if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can leave your questions and I do try and answer them. Or you can get onto our website and you can go and have a look at our contact us page on the website, and you can drop us a line that way if you've got questions. And the website is there for you. It's andyshed.colepress.net. That's andyshed.colepress.net, from wherever you are around the world, because we know we've got people all over the place who watch this show these days. And what else have I got to tell you today? Yeah, I think that's about it actually. Yeah, I think that's, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to do 3 things at once there and failing miserably. But yeah, so that's how we do that. And if you want to know any more about it, then get in touch with us and see how you can repair cracks like that. So that's cool, isn't it? Yeah, just say yeah, agree with me. Right, we will move swiftly on. Hey, come back, come back. Thank you. Right, I'm going to get this phone and put this phone away. I've got it stuck on something. The line cords get stuck on things. I'm working in a very small room here, and things get sort of tied up together and stuck together and all kinds of things. I'm going to leave it on there for now. But yeah, now we've done it. I'll just leave it on there for now for all the world to see there. And as I say, I'll finish it off this coming week. Right, well, that about wraps it up for another episode of Andy Shed Live. I've been over to Hedge Windmill to their spring track today, and hopefully we'll have some footage from that next week. We don't have time to ingest the footage into our system here to show you it, unfortunately, on the actual day that it happens, because it takes a while for it to get ingested in to the system that we use for the live broadcasting, because we have to convert it and all kinds of things, which we can't do in real time, unfortunately, because well, it just uses a lot of processing power. But yeah, that about wraps it up again for another show. I do have to say, though, if you've enjoyed what you've seen on this show, or if you've enjoyed any of the content that you've seen on the Andy Shed YouTube channel, please, please, please do us a massive favour and hit that subscribe button that's on there. And also, if you want to be notified of when we put up new content, you won't necessarily get notified just by pressing subscribe. So please also hit the bell icon on YouTube. If you've got a bell icon there, hit that, and then you'll get notifications when we put up new content. 'Cause of course, we're live here on a Sunday, but we also put up new stuff in the week as well sometimes, and there will be a new video going up very soon regarding this. This is a genuine GPO telephone 150 that I got the other week, and just look at the state of it. It's got no cords at all, it's got no line cord, it's got no handset cord, and it had been converted into a lamp. It had got a lamp socket stuck up here and a bulb holder. Well, I've taken that off already, but we're going to be converting this back into a telephone, so that's coming up as a video sometime in the near future. So if you want to know about candlestick phones, and particularly GPO 150s, then stick around here, because there is going to be some content all about that. So remember, that's another good reason to like and subscribe, please, to the channel. We also need your subscriptions to help us out, because you may or may not know that in February, on February the 28th I think it was, YouTube brought in a new rule that said any channels with under 1,000 subscribers could not run YouTube's ads anymore. And of course the ads made us a little bit of money. So they've now taken that away from us, so we don't make any money from this at all at the minute. But if you do want to help us, there are two ways that you can help us. There are two ways that you can give us a little donation if you've enjoyed the content. One way you can do it is you can get on the website patreon.com. It's patreon.com/AndyShed, and get on there, and you can make a monthly donation if you like. It can be as little as $1, and if you become one of our official patrons through patreon.com, then you will get your name on the closing credits of any new content that we put up while you are a patron. So if you keep making a monthly donation for as little as $1, so wherever you are in the world you can still be a patron, but it works in US dollars, so it'll take $1 worth of whatever out of your bank account every month. As little as $1, and you'll get your name on the credits of Andy Shed Live, and also the other productions that we do from time to time as well. You can find details about that and about everything else we do, of course, over at our website andyshed.coldpress.net. The other way that you can help us on the website is you can buy a t-shirt, or indeed a bag, or indeed a coffee mug. We've teamed up with the people at spreadshirt.com and opened our own Spreadshirt shop. You can find the links to that again at our website andyshed.coldpress.net, and on the left hand side, or scroll down if you're on a mobile, because it comes up different on a mobile of course, then you'll find a link that says something like buy stuff here, and when you find that link, that is to our Spreadshirt shop, and again it's at andyshed.coldpress.net. Right, that about wraps it up for this week. A big thank you to everybody who has been in touch with us and said how much they're enjoying the content and that, and as I say, I've actually met a couple of the people, a couple of the viewers this week, so hopefully